It is another edition of Business Digest. Thank you for joining us. We are here to bring you the top Rwandan business stories this week. We'll be exploring stories from the aviation sector, the transport sector, and even food businesses. So do stick around and enjoy the show. Now, Move Ride services have been launched in Rwanda by Volkswagen Rwanda. How impactful are these services when it comes to mobility solutions? We'll be discussing more on this story, and you can also engage in this conversation through the hashtag Business Digest. Let's have a look. New taxi cab transport service that brings the latest generation of mobility solution and bridges existing gaps in the sector launched this month. The new Move service is the latest after the automaker's $20 million assembly plant in Rwanda released its first fleet of cars 7 months ago. Business Digest spoke with the CEO of Volkswagen Rwanda, Michaela Rugwizangoga, to brief us on what we should expect from Move Ride services. Now join me as we welcome the CEO of Volkswagen Rwanda to the show, Ms. Michaela Rugwizangoga. It's very nice to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
A pleasure to have you here as well. So as you can see, we're having a short cruise around the city, experimenting the entire Move Ride experience, and the Move Ride services have been launched officially in the country. And she's going to talk to us a little bit on this launch. Now, Ms. Michaela, Move Ride has been operating in the city for a while now, and many people are really happy with the services. What are your observations on this?
Thank you very much, Diana. As you were saying, we launched today officially, but we are both a transport company and an IT company. And in the IT world, when you develop a system, as you know, our cars are available on the Move app. So when you develop a system, you have what we call a soft launch or a pilot phase, whereby you're able to put the product out there and gather feedback and improve the system as you move. And as you said, we've registered positive intake. You know, we have about 13,000 users and 10,000 completed rides. By rides, we mean say you are a customer, you go on the app, you click, you order for a car, the car comes, you're being dropped where you want to be dropped, you complete the payment, and so we've had more than 10,000 in the past 4 months, and it's a good result, and it tells us that the future will be even better. So one of the challenges we faced is the number of cars we used in our pilot, because in-house, thinking about the pilot, we did not have a large fleet, but the demand was higher, so we had to also take it into account and quickly make sure that we increase our fleet. At full maturity, we want to have about 150 cars in the market, but it's gradual. So now we had 25 cars. At the end of March, we're putting more 60 cars on the road, then 30 more as we move into the 150.
Great. Now let's talk about the job provisions that Move Ride is going to come up with. During the launch, you mentioned that it's going to create about 1,000 new jobs. Can you brief us a little bit for our viewers out there that are watching, they were not at the session to get to have an idea on this?
By 1,000 new jobs, we are talking about direct job and indirect job creation. You know, so by direct job, what do we have? We have people who work directly in mobility. So these are IT engineers, marketers, and so on. And then we have the whole team of drivers. Our product is a 24/7 product. So far, we have 2 shifts. So as the demand increases, we are looking at going into 3 shifts. If you think of 3 shifts, you need 3 drivers per car. And when we have 150 cars, that's about 450 drivers, you see, and that's just on the driver side. Then you're looking at this fleet, of course, increasing, and you keep those numbers, you keep the multiplicator factor there. But we're also training our technicians, you know, they're being trained in Rwanda, you know, in our training academy. We also have support from our partners in Kenya, where we send them for additional training, and in South Africa. And on the regular, we also have engineers that come here to train our staff. Now, at indirect job creation, the sky is the limit, really. You know, I spoke about it at the press conference. I think I can see a young person starting a city tour service with just Volkswagen. You know, saying, okay, you want to visit Kigali? I'll take you around in a Polo. I'll tell you how the car is fun. It's a made in Rwanda car, and I'll explain to you the in and out of our city. You see, those are things that can happen. We're just throwing ideas out there, but I'm sure.
And once again, you just give them an idea.
Exactly, and so, but I know that our young people are dynamic, they're creative, and so I look forward to them, you know, tweeting us and telling us, look, thanks to your mobility solutions,
we're coming up with our own ideas.
Because when people can move, they can do things. You know, you unlock potential, and I think that's where we really want to be active.
Okay, great. Now, before we conclude our interview, let's talk about a little bit on competition. We have Uber and Taxify trying to explore the Rwandan market. How are you going to deal with this kind of competition?
So number one, our product is slightly different from them in the sense that at this stage Move is under the Volkswagen group, so our vehicle is strictly Volkswagen, so that's our differentiator factor. And so you have a guarantee of safety, you have a guarantee of the cars are new, you know, they only stay in our fleet for 2 years. Clients, for example, who want their kids to be moved, it's very important that they know that the kid is in a car that is safe, that is well maintained, etc., etc. We train the drivers. We're very strong on training, you know, and on skill transfer. And I think those are things that the customer notice and they keep in mind when they make a choice. Now, we are one of the market player along with Diego Cabs, and it's good to have competition. It's really good. So we look forward to have more player in the market and see how by being together we push each other to do more, to create more. And so I think it's important to see competition under a positive light rather than the other side.
Okay. All right, so thank you so much, Miss Michaela, for being part of Business Digest and with all the information you've shared with viewers out there. All right, so you're still watching Business Digest. We still have more to come. Do stay with us. Stakeholders from the African aviation sector convene at the Kigali Convention Center for a 2-day summit dubbed the Aviation Africa. The summit brings together executives, policymakers and service providers in the aviation industry to discuss issues surrounding safety and professionalism, among other subjects. Among the topics that were discussed include barriers to the growth of the aviation sector in the continent, regulation, safety and profits. Under the theme Flying Forward Together, Developed Partnerships for Africa's Future Skies, the 2-day summit and exhibition also discusses on the key issues that are driving change in the African aviation sector.
Been participating for the last 2 years in the Aviation Africa. I think it's one of the most important aviation conferences in the area, and I believe it's one of the most successful. If you look at the turn-up, you look at the profile of the participants, I think it's the most attractive platform for us. So we have chosen to participate once again, and we are very happy to do so. For us, it's twofold. The first objective is, of course, to meet customers, potential customers, but also partners with whom we can develop new products and provide new services in our country.
Aviation in Africa is being the next growth node for global aviation. And for BP, it's important for us to be part of that growth. So the reason why we came to the conference is to participate in this event, to meet stakeholders, to meet important customers, and just to see what the opportunities are for collaboration.
Caris here, and we are a licensed drone company. And the very important importance of participating in such conferences is that you get to meet different type of people in this field of aviation. And we participated last year in 2017, and we got to meet a lot of people, and not only meeting them, they are also aware. We create awareness, we increase awareness, showcasing the work that we are doing as a drone company. all the solutions, applications that we are providing using drones. And so it's really a great platform, a great place for us to showcase the work that we are doing in this field.
The Africa Aviation Summit and Exhibition in Kigali attracted participants from 70 countries and more than 80 aviation industry players exhibiting their work at the event. In the air show exhibition, individuals and companies that need services and those who offer services in the aviation met to discuss and seal deals.
For example, in this field of drone technology, we are able to meet different people from different countries. And one of the things that happened last year is that we met different people that were really interested for us to provide these solutions in their countries. And it had really opened doors for us, doors of opportunities for us to provide these services in their countries, which we did. And now we have opened even an office in Abidjan, in Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. So this is really a great place for us to showcase and show them that there's drone for goods. Drone is not just there for bad things. We can actually use drone technology to provide great solution and tackle those challenges that we have in Africa.
The Honourable President this morning talked about the importance of Rwanda as a hub for African aviation. So I think it was important for us to come and listen to what the President was saying, what the key stakeholders in government are saying. And I think at the same time to participate as a sponsor, because we're also a sponsor of the event, and to have our presence here is to get the stakeholders to understand what BP can offer in this growth story. Air transport market, the common transport market, or SATM as it's known, I think it's massive for the region. It's going to promote intra-Africa regional travel. For Africans, I share a simple example. For some Africans to fly from the one end of Africa to the other end, they have to fly via another continent like Dubai or somewhere else. This is going to promote travel into Africa, and that's going to promote growth for everybody that's involved in the aviation industry, be it airlines, be it service providers like BP, Air BP. So I think it's a massive step forward to move the African aviation agenda forward.
Pizzas are everywhere. In fact, it is one of the most successful industries among the arena of food, and within them lies the exceptionality of artisan pizza. It has become so popular in the food world that we cannot even consider it as a trend anymore. Business Digest got to have a chat with Matthew Leutwiler, an American film director who unveiled a pizza joint in Kigali called Lavana. He explains to us how passionate he is about storytelling and wants to make Lavana a creative space, not just where people can go for unique artisan pizza in town, but where they can go to do other interesting activities.
Friends in America thought about, well, you always say, oh, you should open up a place in LA. But I have been coming to Rwanda for 6.5 years. I sponsor a bunch of children here, about 40 right now, and we have an organization in America called We Are Limitless. It's a charity that kind of manages all of the sponsorship of these kids. So I come here all the time, and I kept thinking about other ways to get involved here on a business level, and so I thought, well, maybe we won't do a pizza place in Los Angeles, let's do it here in Kigali. So there was a couple of start and stops, but now we have our location, and we started,
Speaking of the location, the launch of this place was something that was being talked about everywhere.
Sure.
Yes, which is a good thing. And speaking about the pizza, what makes it special and different from the rest of the pizzas that you have?
I mean, what I have noticed is the pizza in Rwanda is just different than what we're kind of used to, especially in Los Angeles. Pizzas here are more kind of flat. Ours are, and larger, frankly. Ours have, we actually put a lot of effort into our crust, and I think
your crust is thicker.
It's thicker, yeah.
I actually thought it was the other way.
No. It's been kind of interesting seeing people's reactions. Some people are like, "What the heck is this? This isn't a pizza." But it's made more like a Neapolitan style that you'd find in Naples, Italy. They're a little smaller. They're more kind of individual pizzas. You can share them, but they're not for a big, not for a crowd. Yeah. They satisfy one, maybe two people. They're not going to satisfy four people.
Have you encountered any difficulties when it comes to implementing this kind of big business here? Any challenges?
Sure, lots every day, every minute of the day.
Yeah,
a couple. Service here is something I think that's a little finding and training people to give good service here is not as easy as I'd hoped. It's not something that is.
It's not that easy, basically.
Yeah, I don't think it's people really aren't used to it. That's been a difficult part. It's just this country's kind of new when it comes to customer service.
You've done charity work and you've done pizza business, and I know you're a movie director by profession.
Yeah.
Are you looking into, or are you thinking of doing anything related to
Absolutely.
movie directing
I already
in
have.
Rwanda?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a TV pilot that we shot here a year ago, a comedy about two white actors that decide to come to Africa to help, and it's kind of a comedic take on white savior complex. White people feeling, oh, I'm in this great position to help people, I'm going to go there, and they have no idea what they're doing. So we kind of make fun of that idea. And then there's a film that I'm writing right now about a true story about some female Congolese boxers. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I'd like to do here. Yeah.
Traditional chefs are stuck towards traditional ways to make pizza, but it is fortunate to know that conventional ovens are not the only solutions for baking. Brick ovens are very popular when it comes to baking artisan pizzas. This style infuses a smoky flavor and gives crust an amazing char.
It's like baking pizza because I used to work in a certain restaurant in Nairobi where we used to bake pizza. So after that I got inspired and I moved fully to this place. It's doing well because at the moment we are doing very well. We are selling our pizzas very well. On a busy day we can sell like 200 to 220 pizzas on a day. If you check, that is very good business. Our pizza unique, first of all, is our oven. Our oven is called Stefani Ferrari oven, and it is wood-fired oven. It burns at 400 degrees Celsius. Number two, the type of ingredients we use. We use very different ingredients. First of all, we use a Caputo flour, which has better elasticity. It can stretch up to 12 centimeters. Number three, the type of cheese we use. We use very egged cheese like Gorgonzola cheese, blue cheese, and goat cheese. And we also have mozzarella di bufalo, which is extracted from the buffalo milk.
The story from Napoli. It's an Italian brand. In a way, we borrowed the Italian perspective of making pizza. So basically, it starts with a wood-fired oven. It is an Italian brand. The firewood as well is also imported from Italy. We call it the Casuarina firewood. So the perspective, what we borrowed from Italy was the handcraft style. So the most unique part about making pizza here is that it's different from the other types of pizza. First, they hand stretch it, they mix it with the Caputo Rinforzata flour. That's also imported flour, and it's a very nice Italian perspective towards the market. And we are trying to bring this to the Rwandan market by the fact that with natural flour, natural ingredients, and a wood-fired oven that can give best quality product. We looked at the consumer market in Rwanda, and we looked at some pizzerias around here, and we saw that they needed a different version of the Italian style pizza. When you look at this market, I've gone to like Pizza Inn, I've gone to other pizzerias, they have nice pizzas, but we want to introduce a new concept. And when we tried it in Kenya, it was actually very successful. Yeah.
And on today's segment of Market Trends, I'll be bringing you the gross domestic product of the third quarter of 2018. In the third quarter of 2018, the GDP at current market prices was estimated at Rwandan francs 2,062 billion, up from 1,927 billion Rwandan francs in the third quarter of 2017. In this quarter, services sector contributed 48% of the GDP, while agriculture sector contributed to 28% of the GDP. Industry sector contributed to 17% of the GDP, and 7% was attributed to adjustment for taxes and subsidies on products. Looking deeper into the industry sector grew by 12% and contributed to 2.1 percentage points to overall GDP growth. The growth in industry sector was mainly attributed to growth in manufacturing and construction activities of 10% and 17% respectively. Within manufacturing, beverages and tobacco increased by 15%, production of textiles, clothes and leather goods increased by 17%, while production of construction materials such as metallic production increased by 42%, while food processing decreased by 1% due to a decrease in cereal processing. As we look into the services, the growth of service sector grew by 7% and contributed to 3.6 percentage points to overall GDP growth. Lastly, the expenditure GDP. In the third quarter of 2018, total final consumption expenditure increased by 3%, with household final expenditures increased by 4%. Exports increased by 13%, while imports increased by 2%. Gross capital formation increased by 26%, mainly due to imports of capital goods. Now, Market Trends brings us to the end of this episode. And don't forget, you can share with us your views and opinions on this show through the hashtag Business Digest on Twitter. I want to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Bank of Kigali, for sponsoring this show. My name is Diana Iriza, and I'll see you all next week.